I'm Eric from Ontario, California of the Navigeeks, and you're listening to PodCacher.
Hey there, hello, and welcome to another PodCacher podcast.
We are glad you're here with us for show 892 for January 6, 2025.
2025, Happy New Year.
I remembered to change the number, so I didn't say 2024.
I have already made the mistake.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you will admit to writing 2024 on like a check or some other place where you write the date?
You know, people hardly use checks anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
But I know there's other places where you write.
Well, just like today, I was filling out a little form and I put 2024. I'm like, oh, hang on now.
Not 2024 anymore.
Yeah, well, this was a couple weeks off for our whole family, and we had lots of fun times with friends and family over the holidays, and we hope you did too.
Yeah, several times we did we played a lot of games because our family's big on games, and we also did some like escape room in a box type things. Yeah. Both with our friends and then also with Sonny's brother and his wife yesterday, and those are really fun. Lots
of gaming, different kinds. We learned a new dice game called, what was it called?
Bank.
Bank. And, you know, because Sandy's family, we spent time with Sandy's family, then we spent time with my family. Sandy's family likes to play games. Well, so does my brother and his wife. But, so that was one way to pass the time. And we also had a fun geocaching day in Oceanside where we recorded the map show for our PodCacher Club members.
It was a really good day that involved sea lions, unique virtuals, and discovering connection in the geocaching community.
It was a good day. Lots of great audio on that one. And hey, hope you're ready for the great geocaching year in 2025, celebrating 25 years of geocaching.
And we're going to chat a little bit more about celebrations later on in the show.
Yeah, we will. And we do have a great show planned for you today. We have a discussion of new ideas to introduce to geocaching.
New Year's geocaching resolutions. Gotta go there.
Yep. Help for finding or puzzling, and a new segment.
Plans for celebrating 2025 and much more.
All right. First up, GPS system upgrade in the news.
Geocaching and GPS news.
First up in geocaching and GPS news, we heard from Mark, also known as Admiral, with a lot of L's, who wrote this.
Yeah, didn't we meet him out in Boston?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. He says, greetings, SNS. I saw this story in a space science and technology newsletter I subscribe to that may make a good bit for geocaching and GPS news. Best came to us from Mark, also known as Admiral. And here it is. Space Force awards Raytheon $196.7 million contract extension for GPS system upgrade. So the U.S. Space Force has awarded Raytheon a $196.7 million contract extension for the Global Positioning System Next Generation Operational Control System, or OCX. It's a critical upgrade to the GPS infrastructure. This contract, announced on November 27th, aims to deliver the next software upgrade by November 2025, so this year. Mm-hmm. The OCX program, which has faced significant delays, seeks to modernize GPS ground control and infrastructure to enhance navigation, signal accuracy, and cybersecurity for both military and civilian applications.
Civilian applications.
Yeah, what does that mean? The program has been delayed by approximately 7 years, with the original delivery slated for 2018.
Wow, so it's about time.
It's about time, people. The Space Force has relied on interim software from Lockheed Martin during this period. The Government Accountability Office has flagged these delays as risks to the GPS enterprise. So,
well, glad it's finally happening.
You know, we are living in the age of things changing almost every week. Now we've got artificial intelligence out there, and the GPS infrastructure it's old.
It's old.
Yeah,
it sure is.
So it's important that they upgrade it. Yeah, global commerce, national security, health, safety, and welfare, blah, blah, blah. That's all reasonably important, all in all. But come on, let's discuss the most important elephant in the room. How will this improve our geocaching? Am I right? Yes. All right. So I'm glad to see that they're spending $196.7 million to keep me entertained and geocaching. We'll put links on our show notes. You can go check out the news article yourself and go take a look at it there.
PodCacher email.
All right. First up in PodCacher email, we heard from GSM times 2, who wrote this.
You wrote S times 4. Thank you for highlighting ShareBear64 and my FTF magazine article in last week's podcast. It was a fun trip in the not so way back machine. I enjoyed listening to the "For me, geocaching has become" comments from a few of my friends, knowing that their geocaching journeys have continued to new destinations. My 5-year journey's accomplishments are too many to list, but include 8,000 more finds and 600 more hides, converting to a full-time extrovert. I wonder how you do that. And recently being labeled as, quote, the godfather of adventure labs.
Okay.
As I enter my 21st year of geocaching, I look forward to keep on caching.
Yeah.
Thanks for being part of my geocaching week. And that is GSM times 2, also known as Scott.
All right. Very good. And we also heard from Tiffany, also known as ZipperTiff. Today I received my goodies from the prize vault. What a nice treat to find in the mail. I just wanted to say thank you for the prize and for working so hard to create your podcast. I just get to sit back and enjoy it, but I know it's a big effort on your part to put each show together. I've been happy to support you guys and look forward to many more years of the same. Thanks again. And once again, that came to us from listener and club member Tiffany, also known as ZipperTiff. P.S., she says, I need more cowbell. Oh, nope, wrong show. I mean, I need more bloopers. Bring on those flub lines. I know you've got some. And actually, listen to the end of the show because we've already got a few. Last year, we heard from Michael, also known as Barucci, who held some geocaching events in Krakow, Poland, and shared the results from the geo debates that they held during these gatherings. We've shared a number of these topics already, but we have one final topic to share with you. And this topic was, if I could introduce something new to geocaching.com, what would it be? Well, we thought it would be an appropriate topic for the start of a brand new year, and here are some of the ideas generated from the geocachers at the event in Poland.
So the first said, introduce a new icon for challenge caches. So I know there are lots of people who really like the challenge caches, and they would probably like this. But, you know, we've talked about this before. It is very difficult and thus rare to introduce a new icon. I mean, I don't even know when the last time was that they actually made a new icon.
A new icon,
I mean, we're talking about traditional, virtual.
Right, Earth cache.
Yeah. I mean, and there's some that you can't do new ones of anymore, you know, but as far as bringing in a whole new icon, that would be huge.
We can wish, right? Another one says, add an attribute for caches accessibility by fishing. Tree caches that can be done from the bottom of a tree by a fishing stick. So that's that's a very specific thing.
That is very specific. And an attribute, I'm pretty sure there's a tree caching attribute or something like, you know, climbing required, like or tree climbing required.
But a tree fishing stick.
Yeah. Fishing makes me think of like fishing, but apparently what they mean is that you can stand below a tree and use a stick.
Well, you know, I could see why he was saying that, because that way you would make sure to bring your tree fishing stick with you.
I guess so.
Or maybe at least like a walking stick that can be extended. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't or left it in the car, then you'd have to come back to the cache someday.
That's
so maybe,
true.
I don't know. So I guess attributes might be easier than an icon.
Well, yeah, for sure. I was just going to say that because the next one is include an attribute for magnetic caches.
Okay.
And certainly attributes are easier to add than icons, but I still don't know what the process for that is. It's not like they come up with new attributes all the time. You know, I think you're still limiting them, you know, in a certain way. But there's a lot of magnetic caches. You know, but I don't know why you would need an attribute. Like, why would you need to know ahead of time?
I was about to say that. See, like if you want something that's pet friendly or dog friendly, right? Or wheelchair accessible, or I don't know, some of the other attributes kind of tell you what to expect just in case,
So you're prepared.
So you're prepared.
Right.
But a magnetic, I think most people who are hiding magnetic caches don't necessarily want, they want the finder to discover that.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily want that to be like, oh, it's a magnetic cache, therefore I'm going to look for something where it can stick to.
Right.
So, I don't know.
They might put it in the hint or something.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Expand the scope of Earth caches to include elevation and hydrogeology. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Obviously, all we know is what's written here. Hydrogeology, I would think, would be related to geology, right?
Yeah.
So wouldn't that already be included?
I guess so. Hydrogeology, obviously it has something to do with water, right?
Right. But I don't know what they mean by
expand the scope of Earth caches to include elevation. Huh. Okay.
Maybe we can get more info on that.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right.
The next one is support first to find on geocaching.com, displaying them on cache icons and including them in official statistics.
Ooh, okay. So if you were first to find, you would get like a badge.
Something like that. Although I think I've heard the geocaching HQ people say that is a statistic that they do not track. And I don't know if they would ever change their mind on that.
Yeah.
Because, I know Project GC has a way of tracking it.
Oh, do they?
But you have to put those words or letters or something specific in your log.
Right.
Because, there's no like automated way for the website or the app to do it.
This next one, I don't see why not. Reactivate webcams.
That's been a discussion for a while.
That's been in discussion for a while.
Because a lot of them are dying off.
I know.
And new ones aren't allowed. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. Well, are you talking about the actual webcams are dying off? There's not as many as there used to be, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then that translates to the webcam geocaches are also dying off.
But just like if they want to bring back webcams. They want to bring back like the ability to make a webcam.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I can't see a reason why not to, especially because they're very rare, just like you said.
Yeah.
They're not quite as many, but you'd have to. I remember in the old days, way back when, you had to have somebody at a computer.
Yes, you would.
And you had to be on the phone with them.
Call them
and say, "Can you see me? Take a screenshot."
But see, now with smartphones, it's very different. So maybe that's part of the reason. I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
The next one is increase the number of virtual caches. So something along those lines. But in this case, they've actually been working on that with the virtual rewards.
Yeah.
In fact, the one that we just talked about on the map show and where we were able to hide a virtual cache. Yeah. I think it was Virtual Rewards 4.0. So they've been, and they never promise that there's more coming down the road.
No.
But they've done it multiple times now.
I know.
So
I think they're testing the waters.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. Modify Adventure Lab scoring to award points for completing entire series rather than individual stages.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that you wouldn't get anything, according to this, you wouldn't get anything unless you completed the entire thing.
Yeah, and I get this thinking because I've heard people say that, getting a smiley for each location seems like too much, like it's too easy. But like you said, if you only have time to get part of the Adventure Lab, which we've done many, many times.
Oh, especially when we're visiting someplace. Yeah. You can't get out. Let's say there's 5. Yeah. And you only have time. You only have the ability. Maybe you can't drive to the other ones or whatever to get 1, 2,
or 3 or 4. You wouldn't get any credit for those. I don't know about that.
No. Yeah.
Next one's related. Integrate Adventure Labs into the geocaching app with an option to disable them.
Okay.
I guess for people who don't care for Adventure Labs.
Okay. But integrate it. Yeah, that'd make it a little at least convenient for those.
So it's not 2 different apps. Yeah.
Refresh Where I Go with better app support. Okay. Huh.
Yeah, I think Where I Go's kind of been something that's needed help for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Okay.
Set a requirement to find a certain number of caches before hiding one or wait for a certain number of days after creating a geocaching.com account.
Yeah, I've heard that. In fact, I just spoke today to somebody in the new band that I play with. And he was asking about, who's allowed, who hides them? I said, well, it's anybody can, but typically you want to wait for like 20, after you've hidden about maybe 20.
This is a common thing that you hear from a lot of people. How do you keep rookie cachers from hiding one before they're ready, before they really understand, or before they can really make a good one? But that is really hard to legislate. It's different from person to person.
Some people might be ready after their second geocache because they're like into it and they get it. Mm-hmm. And other people, they need to hide like 200.
You mean find 200?
I mean,
before they hide one.
Before they hide one, they need to do a lot.
Yeah. So that's tough to make it like black and white.
I know. And it says set a requirement. I don't know about that. All right. Make the 24/7 access attribute mandatory or marked as not applicable. Oh, okay. So that's if you can't get there 24/7 or say that you can.
Right. I think they're saying many people don't even just bother with the attribute, right?
Right.
But they want you to either mark it as a yes or an absolute no, that it's not 24/7. I guess that would be helpful in some cases.
So you wouldn't be driving out to some place and you can't possibly find it or do it because for some reason maybe gates are locked or something like that. Yeah.
Offer free premium accounts to geocachers who consistently create highly favorited caches. That is interesting. So, because it doesn't really, quote, cost geocaching.com anything to offer a free premium account. It's a year, right? Mm-hmm. And so they'd have to figure out, like,
to create highly favorited caches.
What's the benchmark? How many and how high a favorites?
Yeah. So that now that I'm kind of thinking more about it, like, what if you created a whole bunch that were favorited but didn't have a high favorite number?
Well, the other thing is there's caches that have been around for years,
and they're going to have high favorites,
and you'll never best them, right? Because if they already have thousands of favorites, you're never going to catch up.
Maybe there's some algorithm like favorite points per time.
Right. Well, there's a percentage of like how many of the premium people who find it gave it a favorite. There are percentages that they calculate.
No, I'm saying because you just mentioned that it's one that's been around per time.
I see, for how long it's been.
Yeah, so let's say it's been around for 2 years, but it has 100 favorite points, as opposed to something that's been around 6 months and has 100 favorite points. The ratio would be
okay.
I mean that's a simple algorithm, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, if you put something out, well, see, that's if you're at a very populated place, your favorite points are going to go up higher,
right?
Quickly,
because more people find it.
Yeah, but if you're in a very remote place, then no matter how good it is, your numbers.
Well, then you go back to percentages, so that might work.
Maybe some combination of both percentages and that ratio of time, something like that. Okay, I don't know. We're making this stuff up as we go on. Okay.
Here's the last one.
Reactivate Project 8 caches, but limit them to one per continent, perhaps in remote locations, to make finding them an adventure in itself.
I can understand where this is coming from like people who've never had the chance to get an 8 cache. But that was such a unique thing from years ago that I don't know if I would agree with.
Maybe they can have like a downgraded but similar, like a Project Chimpanzee.
But this is talking about icons. This is a specific icon that people covet. Okay. And you either have to go to Brazil or you have to go to Washington. So,
those are sort of those unique one-offs. Mm-hmm. There's no way to, Brazil or Washington. Okay.
Well, those are all very interesting ideas that we just discussed with you. What about you? If you could add something or change something about geocaching, what would it be? Let us know, and we can share your ideas here on PodCacher.
Many of you know that this is the longest-running worldwide podcast all about geocaching, and many of you know that we gather and deliver geocaching goodness to you each and every week. You know that we provide geocaching-related value that you can count on and trust, and you've heard us entertain, inform, and inspire you with news, reviews, tips and tricks, and stories from around the world. But did you know that we are only supported by listeners? Yep, geocachers just like you. We're only able to continue creating because of this very much appreciated support. Our club members have decided, hey, this is one podcast I want to make sure keeps on creating. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for some time now and enjoy what we bring you, won't you please step up and become a PodCacher Club member? We have a very affordable options, and we've got lots of perks to share with you. You can find out all the details and join the PodCacher Club at podcacher.com/club. Well, we recently got a great tip from Nancy of the Deadliest Cachers and Geocaching Central about a new weekly segment on the podcast. And it was to provide helpful tips for newbie cachers. And we think that's a great idea. And we're going to be starting that segment soon. And if you have any tips or topics that you'd like to share, please send them on in. But interestingly enough, at the same time, I saw a post on Facebook asking this: any caching tricks that will help when looking for a cache or solving a puzzle? There were a number of answers, and here are a few of them.
So these are all different suggestions from cachers. When the GPS gets down under 20 feet, just start looking.
Oh, yeah.
And then regarding puzzles, I'd suggest starting with low difficulty and work your way up once you get the hang of solving easy ones.
That's a good tip. This person in the band, his name is John. Mm-hmm. I spoke to him, and he seemed really interested in learning more about geocaching. But one of the things I was telling him was some of the tips. But I should have told him this one: once you get under 20 feet, because I think a lot of times newbies just stare at the GPS and think they're going to get closer, zero in. Yeah, once you're within 20 feet or so, just
start looking.
Put the phone or the GPS away and start looking. That's a good one. Here's another one. Go with a more experienced friend for a while. It'll keep you from getting frustrated and giving up. Isn't that the truth?
That is true. There is power in multiple eyes looking.
Well, not just multiple eyes, but an experience.
An experience.
So you don't want like a whole bunch of unexperienced eyes.
A bunch of newbies. That's true.
You lead each other astray. All right.
Someone said use CGeo app and geocaching toolbox and Cache Sleuth for solving puzzles. And yes, Chat GPT. I bet you can ask it all kinds of questions and maybe get some puzzle answers.
Why can't I find this cache?
Well, I wouldn't recommend that.
When looking for a cache, look for something that looks out of place. Mm-hmm. And for puzzles, attend events. Oh my gosh, that is it. You know what? And I want to add to that. Don't just attend the event, but be curious. Like ask questions.
Ask for help.
Yeah. Okay.
Next one, note the difficulty. Try 2 or lower.
Yeah.
Read the description. Yes. Read the hint. And for puzzles, after trying, contact the cache owner for a nudge. Okay. Because most of them will be happy to give a little bit of help.
That's true. Nothing beats experience. Mm-hmm. If you don't have an experienced person to go with, you'll have to learn on your own. Just don't give up. The first time we looked for one in a parking lot, we were stumped for a long time. After we finally found it, we then knew pretty much every time there was a parking lot cache, we knew where to look. Yep. And you guys know what they're talking about.
And we're not even going to say it.
We're not even going to say it. Okay.
Someone said there's a book called How to Puzzle Cache by Cully Long.
That's a great book.
There was a website where you could see sample pages and order the book. Try Googling for it. I've been told that the book is excellent. And yes, it is excellent.
It is excellent. Cully put so much, I mean, it is jam-packed with so many puzzle tips and solving things.
Practice puzzles.
Oh, that is a great book. That's a great resource. Touch, twist, pull, push, everything, but do it gently.
Yes.
I gotta say that's probably, but the gently part is, because I've seen,
it's important.
Yeah, I've seen things near a cache that were sort of broken.
Yep.
Because they didn't do the gently piece. Okay.
Don't just look at the ground. Many are much higher. Yeah. And it really is all about perspective.
Yeah.
And changing your perspective while you're looking.
I think that's probably one of the things that helps me find things. Well, a couple of these. Look for something out of place and changing my perspective. You know, going down low, looking, Go to events. Other geocachers are your best resource. So much information is shared about all kinds of caches. And you'll get a smiley, too.
That's right.
I don't know if some people know that. You go to an event, you get a smiley.
Yes, you attend an event. That is like finding a cache.
But my big tip, honestly, is don't just sit in the corner and be a wallflower. Like, introduce yourself, find some way to get into a conversation, ask questions. There's nothing. Look, everybody was a newbie at one time or another.
Yeah.
So don't feel intimidated by all these veteran cachers. Many of them, except some of the very arrogant ones who are not PodCacher listeners. But
and there's very few of those.
Very few. Most of them will be more than happy to help you out and welcome a new cacher on board.
Yep.
All right. Hey, those are some great tips. If you have any for finding or puzzling, let us know. We might be able to share it here on a future PodCacher podcast.
As we start into 2025, you know that there are many things planned to celebrate 25 years of geocaching.
Ooh.
There's block parties, there's community celebration events, and I'm sure there's more to come.
Mm-hmm.
But did you know that this year is also a celebration of 20 years of PodCacher?
20 years. We've been doing this for 20 years.
We started this podcast in July 2005. So 2025 is actually 20 years for PodCacher and 25 years for geocaching.
Check that out.
What a great year. We have some ideas on celebrating this double milestone that we'll be sharing soon. And we are also coming up on another huge milestone, our 900th show.
Wow. That's a big number.
This milestone show is going to be on March 17th. So we are planning a special event here in San Diego for Saturday, March 15th. More details will be coming soon, but put it on your calendar if you are anywhere near or can get here to San Diego on March 15th and help us celebrate 900 shows.
We have late breaking news from our friends at Cache Advance. They posted this on social media yesterday. Our geocaching mystery boxes are nearly sold out and we'll be shipping them next week. If you've been waiting to grab one, now's the time. Each box is packed with geocaching treasures. Like this, unique geocache containers, trackables to add to your adventures, geocaching themed swag, and surprises. At just $29, these boxes are a perfect way to treat yourself or share the geocaching fun with someone special. Supplies are very limited, so don't wait. And that came from Lookout Lisa and the Cache Advance crew. Head on over to the link in our show notes to order a geocaching mystery box before they run out. And be sure to check out the subscription boxes offered by Cache Advance for monthly geocaching surprises.
So it's the start of a new year, and we've already been talking. It's time that many people make resolutions. So what about you guys? Do you make resolutions? I really try to avoid making official resolutions because I'm afraid that I'll fail. But I do kind of think about what I'd like to do, you know, start getting better at getting walking in, eat better, eat less fast food, those kinds of things. How about you, honey?
Those are good. Those are good resolutions. You know, it's easy to keep a resolution that you like. Okay, I want to play more bass guitar and music. Right. I mean, it's easy to keep a resolution.
That doesn't really count because it's something.
Is it supposed to be something that's painful?
Well, maybe slightly.
Something that you don't want to do.
Something that's hard, so you're trying to encourage yourself.
It's like a challenge, huh? Yeah, I don't know. Certainly more exercise. I think I want to be better at, and for some of you might know this, I've been suffering from plantar fasciitis with one foot.
Right.
And I think part of it is because I haven't been very diligent about stretching. So and just physical therapy. So maybe something like that.
That's a good resolution.
Yeah. I think those are it for now. Because the thing is, you want to make them like doable.
Right.
Like, you know, something that's a little bit of a challenge, because you don't want something that's a challenge and is not fun and it's not doable, because then that just leads to disappointment.
That's true.
And regret.
And that could be true about geocaching resolutions. Yeah. And so what do you guys think about geocaching resolutions? Again, we haven't typically made like big official geocaching resolutions in the past.
Yeah.
We often have some things in mind that we want to do. But this year I do have a goal, and that is to finish up our Jasmer Challenge.
Okay.
Because it is totally doable. We just need a couple of recent months, which are really easy. And then we need September 2000, which is not far from us.
It's
Phil's Memorial Cache.
I know you're going to say that.
We've had plans several times to go find it.
Things have happened.
And this is the year for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Are you on board, honey?
We can do it. We just need to plan it and execute
Set
it.
a date.
Figure out a date when we can do it. Yeah.
And I'd like to get more of our Fizzy Grid finished. That's not our hard and fast goal for this year, but I think we're short 7 of the 81 combinations.
Oh, I didn't know we were that.
We are.
Oh, okay.
Only 7, but of course they're harder ones.
They're the harder ones. Yeah. Okay. Well, when we scanned through the hundreds of responses to geocaching's question on Facebook about New Year's resolutions, there were many answers. Things like doing streaks. We're talking about, it has nothing about removing clothing, just so you know.
Geocaching streaks.
Doubling states visited, hiding a first cache, finishing the calendar, and reaching a certain number of finds. Also, creating geo art, launching a first travel bug, making new friends, and attending events. Some said, get outdoors, have fun, not be too obsessive about it, and just enjoy the sport. Others said, to not give up so easily, place my cache before submitting publication.
Yes.
Begin with easy caches, brave the rain, try harder terrain, and hide some where I goes. And here's one final comment. To just keep on caching. I feel very lucky to have found such a fun sport. Wow. Maybe a PodCacher listener?
Yeah, that keep on caching.
Keep on caching? I mean, I suppose somebody could say that with having listened to us.
You never know.
It's great how our fun sport caters to many different people's interests and goals. What are your geocaching or resolution of 2025? Let us know, and we can share it here on PodCacher.
PodCacher, games and contests.
Here at PodCacher, we love to play games and contests that gives you guys opportunities to win Groovalicious swag.
All right, well, it is time.
It's time.
Very exciting to give away some prizes in our worldwide postcard contest. We just want to send out a thank you to all of you who participated. And, we decided it's a little hard to pick the est card. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the funniest, the prettiest, the farthest,
Yeah.
So we decided each of us would pick 3 that we liked for various reasons. And the reasons might be very interesting. So we're going to have 6 more winners. We've already picked a few in past shows in the contest. But today we're only going to reveal the first 2.
Yep.
And then you're going to have to come back next week for the next 2.
All right. So here are the 2 cards that we got a bunch of these. Just thank you for everybody who took the time, because it's not as easy as just writing an email. You actually have to use your hand and pencil and pen.
That's right. And then
stamp on it. Walk it over
to the mail.
Mailbox. I mean, it sounds silly, but that's a commitment right there.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So the winner number 1 is, this is the one I picked.
Okay.
It's Mosi58 from Basel, Switzerland.
Okay.
And I decided this was the card with the most buildings on it, or at least the most beautiful architecture buildings.
Yeah. I like that one
you can
too.
look at the picture. So it looks like some, a castle, a church, maybe. This Basel, Switzerland looks like a beautiful place.
Okay.
And it was written in Swiss German, so I had to translate. But this is what it says. I heard that you collect postcards from all over the world. Then I'll send best cacher greetings from Basel, Switzerland.
Nice.
And again, that's Mosi58. Congratulations.
All right. And this next postcard literally jumped out at me.
Ooh, that's funny, honey.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
And the reason I chose it was because it was the most interesting 3D card.
Actually, the only 3D card.
Well, then it fits the category.
That's right.
It's in the category of itself. But it's one of these. Some of you will recognize the sound. And
yes.
what it is like it's got a texture on it so that when you kind of tilt it a little bit, It looks like it's moving. It's like it's 3D. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen one of these in a while, but when I was going through the stack looking for one that I was like, oh, which one? It literally, it's got a blue crab.
Yes.
With its claws up.
The crab jumped out at you, honey?
It really did. I mean, look at that,
yes.
Right? Okay, so this is from Joe's Bar, and here's what it says on the back. This card does not represent my hometown of Euclid, Ohio, but I found this card in a cache in Northeast Ohio. When I heard of the contest, I knew who to send it to, and again, that's Joe's Bar, also known as Mike. Because the card is from the actual card is from Virginia Beach, Virginia, where one of my best friends lives. By the way,
yes, that's true.
And it also falls into not only is it the best 3D, but it falls into the category of cards that make sounds.
Well, I could probably get mine to make a sound.
Not like this. This is almost like I could rap with this.
All right. So that's the first two winners. Those are the first two winners. So write us and let us know you heard your name. And then we can get you guys choosing a prize from the PodCacher Prize Vault. And more winners to come.
And that theme song means we are done with the geocaching goodness, at least for today's show, and it's now time for a quick Selah update.
Well, both Sunny and I are tired right now because we got interrupted sleep last night because of Selah.
Okay.
And she's usually so good.
Okay, well, we should describe how the sleeping situation.
Well, we sleep in a bed.
Well, no, but like Selah doesn't. They could assume Selah sleeps in like a small doggy bean bag at the foot of the bed.
Yes.
And she typically doesn't jump up into the bed, except if we sleep in, this is true, if we sleep in late in the morning.
Like on a weekend. Yeah.
And if we sleep in, then she'll sort of stand on her hind legs, scratch the bedpost, and get us away. And then there's this little footstool. Mm-hmm. That if I move over there,
because our bed's kind of high.
Our bed's kind of high.
She can't really jump up.
She's a small chihuahua. But if I put the little footstool, she's got a landing point, and then she can get up. Well, it was 2:30, 3 in the morning?
It was 3 in the morning because I had already had trouble going to sleep, and I had just fallen asleep, and then I was woken up by her scratching at the
bedpost. Yeah.
And I was not happy with our dog. Yeah. For a while, both of us, we were awake, but we just were trying to ignore it.
Yeah, because we thought
scratching. She just wanted to get in bed with us.
Yeah.
And then I tried to go down there and like put pillows to block where she was scratching.
There's a lot of bed.
That didn't work.
She could always find more wood.
So then finally, Sunny got out of bed to try to get her settled again.
So part of it is once I get up, and Sandy knows this, it's hard for me to go back to sleep. Yeah. My mind just starts racing. I really am not sleepy. And so it was 3 in the morning. I got up and I wanted to find out what's going on with Selah. And she got near me, and it's dead quiet, so quiet. I heard her stomach, her tummy gurgling. It was like a and I got to tell you, Selah is one scaredy cat doggy.
Yes.
She gets scared by, like, if I remember one time I put my geocaching backpack out in the backyard, it was just out in the backyard, and she looked out the back window and started growling at it because it does not belong there.
But she's also scared of herself.
Yes.
Like if she farts,
yes,
that scares her.
She will jump, and I do mean that. If you hear
like
little,
her butt makes a little noise
like that, just a little like a quick one, she jumps out of her bed like something's wrong. Well, I think one of two things: her gurgly tummy, that little that she didn't like it and she's trying to get away from it, or that was just some symptoms of maybe an upset stomach.
Yeah.
Because the day before we had guests over here, and I think that she got a little bit more bites of human food than she normally does.
Yeah.
Like little bits of, I don't know, cheese or pieces of bread because we normally just give her dog treats.
Right.
But I think that's what it was.
And I think, she just wanted the comfort of us. I mean, you ended up taking her outside.
Oh, yeah. At 3 in the morning, I was wide awake anyway. I took her to the back, see if she needed to. I didn't know if she was going to throw up or something. But then she came back in and was just cuddling next to me and was just restless.
Yeah.
But about an hour later, right, she finally went into the room and then settled down. And a little bit after that, I tried to get back to sleep. I could not sleep for a long time. So I'm tired. If I sound tired, it's because I am. After we finish the show and get it out, I'm probably trying to go to bed. Not only that, vacation's over.
Yep.
It's time
back to work
tomorrow. So, all right, guys. Hey, that's going to do it for today's show. I do want to thank you so much for listening and being part of the PodCacher community. Do us a big favor. If you know other geocachers who yet do not know about PodCacher, let them know somehow and send them on over to podcacher.com or send a link to one of our episodes so they too can join in on the geocaching goodness we bring you guys each and every week. All right, guys, get out there, find those caches, but stay safe and keep on caching. Bye.
My 5-year journey's accomplishment. Whoops. There you go. There's a blooper for Tiffany. That's coming up next.
Being on those flub lines.
Bring on those flub
sorry.
lines.
There's a blooper. But did you know that we are the only supported... it's great how fun... It's great how our fun sport. Okay. Here in PodCacher... Nope.
Well, that's it for the show today. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to visit our website at PodCacher.com. You'll find our show notes, useful links, and tons of resources. We always love to hear from you. Our email is podcacher@gmail.com. You can also call the PodCacher hotline at 760-300-3633. Find out all the ways you can contact us at podcacher.com/contact. Till next time, stay safe and keep on caching.